2025 is going to be here before we know it. I mean, heck, you might even be watching this in 2025. So let me share with you my 8 trend predictions for Instagram in 2025. I think in 2025, we're going to see quite a few massive shifts within the world of content creation and growing a business or a brand on Instagram. And while there were definitely new features and changes that took place on Instagram in 2024, for the most part, I don't think the way that we use and consume content on Instagram at the end of 2024 is all that different than at the end of 2023. But I think that's going to be different in 2025. I think that there are quite a few major changes that have already been set in motion and that we've already started to see changing on Instagram that are going to drastically alter how we create content, how we consume content, how we grow our businesses, and all of that on Instagram in the coming year. Before I get into my 2025 predictions, I wanted to quickly recap my 2024 predictions to give myself some credibility and also just to talk about some of the changes that have taken place on Instagram in the last year. And also, for those of you who have never met me before, this is the first video you're ever watching. Hello, my name is Brock Johnson, and this is what I do for a living. I geek out over the Instagram algorithm, and I spend the majority of my time helping content creators and business owners grow and make money on Instagram. So let's review my 2024 predictions. I had 7 of them. My first one was the rise of long-form content. And I think to some degree that has taken place, but also I'm going to be very candid and honest and probably even maybe a little bit harsh in my own critique of myself, which is to say that recently, within the last few weeks, Adam Mosseri, the CEO of Instagram, has said that they are not a long-form platform and they are not going to lean into content that is longer than 90 seconds. I did think that Reels would be able to be up to 3 minutes, 5 minutes, even 10 minutes long, like we've seen taking place on TikTok, but that just hasn't been the case on Instagram. Where I do think long-form content has become more popular on Instagram is the content that's between 30 and 90 seconds long. So rather than the 1-second reels or the super quick B-roll reels that were very popular at the beginning of 2024, over the last few months, we have seen content that has more storytelling, that feels more organic, that feels more like a best friend FaceTiming another best friend. That has become more popular. So I would say that's kind of right, kind of wrong in that prediction. My second prediction was an increasing view gap between what's called low effort content and high effort content. And I think that's definitely been the case. I think the talking head reels that are more highly produced, that have better editing, that have better lighting quality, all of those things, better storytelling, those reels are doing better on average. Now, very short reels can definitely still be successful. They can definitely still go viral, but there seems to be an increasing view gap between just kind of meh content, which used to perform okay or even good, and now it's being treated like it is. It's being treated like meh content, and it's getting far below average views and likes, and it's getting increasingly more competitive to stand out and get the views that you were getting in 2022 and 2023. So I would say that prediction was correct. My third prediction for 2024 was that less is more. This would be less is more in terms of followers. So people with less followers would actually be getting more engagement, and that has actually been proven over the last few months. Accounts with below 10,000, below 5,000, and even below 1,000 followers are on average getting more views and engagement than the next tier up. So basically, less followers does equal more views or engagement. I also predicted that less would be more in terms of posts. Less posts equals more engagement. That has been proven to be true. And less is more in terms of stories. If you haven't watched it already, I have posted a few YouTube videos and a few podcasts recently about my stories strategy that is proven to increase story views by at least 3 or 4x, if not 10x or 25x what your normal story views are. And essentially, that is a less is more approach. That is one story in a 24-hour period to maximize your views. So I would say my third prediction was definitely correct. My fourth prediction was more intentional follows, aka us as users. We're going to be more intentional with whom we follow. And I think that's definitely the case. And I would say the biggest evidence to support that is that the average amount of followers generated per profile visit has gone down. So basically, if you used to get 30 followers for every 50 people who visited your profile, you're now getting 30 followers from every 100 or 150 or even more followers who are visiting your profile. On average, it seems like people are being more picky and more choosy, more selective with whom they are following. My fifth prediction was more private spaces, more communities, and more things for close friends. And Instagram has definitely released that. They have released about a dozen new features just for close friends and just for small, intimate groups in 2024. They're really trying to lean into this small connection from person to person within these kind of niche communities rather than these big mega accounts with millions of followers. My sixth prediction was increased spam protection and detection, and that has been the case. Definitely Instagram has beefed up their ability to figure out what post is spam, what comments are spam, filter those things out and remove them. Even a lot of people now have a feature on their Instagram account that automatically can tell you how many followers you have that are spam, and you can, with a click of one button, remove those spam followers. I don't recommend doing that because it's not perfect yet, and there's some evidence to suggest that when you remove hundreds, if not thousands of people in one click, that it can really hurt your account in the future. So I don't recommend using it, but nonetheless, Instagram has definitely beefed up their detection and protection against spam accounts. And then finally, my seventh prediction for Instagram in 2024, and again, we're just revisiting really quickly 2024 before moving on to my 2025 predictions, was the YouTubeification of Instagram. And what I meant by this was, yes, like we talked about earlier, people would be putting more time and more energy and more effort into high-produced videos with great editing and sound effects and cuts and transitions. But even more so, people were really going to hone in on the ingredients that make a successful Instagram post in the way that YouTubers have really honed in over the last decade on what makes a successful YouTube video. On YouTube, it's the thumbnail, it's the title, it's the opening 90 seconds of your YouTube video. And on Instagram, people are really honing in on essentially the hook. Because you don't really see the thumbnail on Instagram, it's really just the hook that matters most. People are understanding that now, and they're paying a lot more attention to the hooks that they are using. So people have significantly, I would say on average, increased their video quality, increased their production quality, and most of all, increased their hook quality to keep people watching. I think one thing that I can point to that shows people's investment into hooks is number one of our best performing freebies in our business is our 25 viral hook ideas. I'll put that down in the show notes below if you want to download that. That's not the point of me saying that. The point of me saying that is that we have 20 to 30 different freebies that we offer in order to collect emails for our business. And by far, one of the best performing, if not the very best performing freebie month after month after month is our 25 viral hooks guide. So it shows that people are really starting to care a lot more about their hooks. And the second thing that I would say that shows that people are caring a lot more about their hooks is the rise of what is called transitional hooks. These are taking viral videos or viral hooks, I should really say, from viral videos, and people are then cutting like the first 3 or 4 seconds of that viral video, putting that as the hook on their own video, and then transitioning into whatever it is that they want to say. All this is essentially just to say the YouTubeification of Instagram, I believe, has taken place. All right, so enough about 2024 and all of the changes that have taken place this year. Let's talk about what's coming. What changes are going to take place to the algorithm, to the audience, to the users? What do I predict is going to happen on Instagram in 2024? And of course, I don't have a magic 8 ball, so none of this is guaranteed. All of this is my best hypothesis, my best guess as to what's going to happen. And I'm going to try my best to give you some stats and basically tell you what I'm seeing that makes me think this is going to happen. But you are more than welcome to disagree. You're more than welcome to argue. If you think I'm wrong, if you think there's something that I'm just way off base with, or something that you think is not going to happen or is going to happen that I don't mention, go ahead and let me know in the comments below this episode. And of course, I am open to any dialogue and feedback that you have. All right, so my first big change or trend that I think is going to happen on Instagram in 2025 is the death of faceless accounts. Now, let me set some context here for what we're talking about. When I say faceless accounts or faceless marketing, I'm not referring to what Pepsi is doing or, any other major company. And when you look at their Instagram, Duolingo, any Instagram account for a brand or company that doesn't already have a face to the brand, I don't think that's what's going to die. That's not what I'm predicting here. What I'm specifically referring to is this trend that has emerged in 2024 called faceless marketing, where people are creating content with short B-roll videos of someone else in order to grow their personal brand and sell something. So oftentimes what it looks like is you'll see a supermodel walking down the street in New York City, and there will be some super engaging, almost clickbaity type of hook or title on the video, here's how I went from $3 a day to $30,000 a day. Read the caption. And that's the other key element, is it always just says read the caption. So the video itself is not the person who's actually creating the video. And oftentimes the video has very little to do with what the reel is going to be about. Oftentimes it's just like a woman walking down the street or someone typing on a computer. It has very little to do with the actual content that's being provided. And the reel is really just functioning as a billboard to say, read the caption. That's it. There's no actual value or tip or strategy or substance in the actual reel. It's just a hook, and then it has, some engaging audio or video, I should say, and then it says, read the caption. And then the caption's usually long, and it offers some tips. And then it's oftentimes trying to sell a course that is teaching you to do exactly what they're doing. It oftentimes involves MRR, which is something we've talked about on this channel a few times. But essentially, I think this trend is going to die out. And I think it's going to die out specifically for people who are trying to build personal brands. I think there are plenty of examples of businesses that don't need a personal brand, but can still be successful online. There are so many different brands and products and businesses that are going to grow, that are going to make sales, and that are going to be successful without ever showing their face. My problem with this trend is that it's being used to build a personal brand. And it's very tough to build trust and to be authentic with a personal brand if you aren't even showing your face. Now, I want to say that I understand all of the reasons for this taking place. I understand people are doing faceless marketing as a way to protect their identity. Maybe they're a school teacher, or maybe they've been in an abusive relationship. And so for whatever reason, they can't put their face online. I understand that's the case for a lot of people. I would just say to those people, don't build a personal brand. Build a business brand. Build a brand around a product. Build a brand around a company, rather than feeling like you have to put your face online, but you can't. So now you're going to use random clips of other people's faces. It's just confusing. And then I believe that the other category of people who oftentimes do this faceless marketing thing are people who are just uncomfortable or shy, or they're not used to putting their face online. And to those people, I would say, you got to get used to it. I know it's not easy, but you got to embrace the suck. There was a point in time when everyone, including myself, was uncomfortable with the sound of their own voice, uncomfortable recording themselves, and uncomfortable putting their face online. But if you're just doing faceless marketing, it's preventing you from ever learning that skill. It's preventing you from ever getting comfortable online. It's preventing you from learning and growing and having the potential to ever move through that uncomfortability and make the uncomfortable comfortable. It's like putting a Band-Aid on a broken bone. It's not really going to do anything. And unfortunately, what happened at the beginning of 2024 is that a few people went viral with this kind of trend, with this style of marketing, where again, they're taking a random B-roll video of someone besides themselves, some super clickbaity title or hook on the screen, and they're telling people to read the caption. And then people are spending a few seconds or even a few minutes reading the caption, and the video is just looping, so it's racking up super high view time and watch duration, and so it goes viral and it reaches more people, and then that person who went viral does have success. They do have followers. And then other people look at them and they're like, oh, I want that success. I want that follower count. So they're jumping from trend to trend. They're not sticking with it. There's no consistency. And it's just not working. I made a post kind of talking about this on Threads a few weeks ago, and I was overwhelmed with the response. It, to date, is one of my most highly engaged with Threads, most viewed Threads posts of all time. And about 95% of the respondents, 95% of the people who replied to that thread were agreeing and echoing what I was saying, that they don't like seeing faceless marketing. They don't like this trend. They're over it. When they see a video that says, read the caption, they just keep scrolling and they intentionally do not engage. And it seemed like the 5% of people who were arguing for faceless marketing were the people who were doing faceless marketing. I couldn't really find an example of anyone who was not doing faceless marketing, but was making an argument for it. So one of my predictions is that faceless marketing is going to go away in large part, or at least it's going to be far less effective in 2025 than it was in 2024. In fact, in April of 2024, Forbes put out an article talking about the rise in the viral popularity of faceless marketing. And in that article, they said this: according to InstaClubHub, 86% of consumers value authenticity in advertising, and faceless content is often perceived as more genuine because it emphasizes the message rather than the messenger. That first part, the statistic, is true. Obviously, it's a stat, and I agree with it. But I disagree with what Forbes said in the second half of that statement, where they said that it's perceived as more genuine. I disagree. I think that generic B-roll videos of people who are not the actual creator posting the post is less genuine because essentially you're hiding your face behind someone else's content, behind a video of another person. And so in my opinion, it is less genuine. I think that the messaging matters. I think that the captions matter. I think that the stories that you're telling can be your own. And all of these things definitely aid in authenticity. But at the end of the day, if you are trying to build a personal brand without showing the person who is the brand, it's going to be very tough. It's going to be very tough to be authentic. It's going to be very tough to build trust. It's going to be very tough to build a brand that people can recognize and can keep coming back to when you're using videos and creating posts that don't stand out, that look like the same generic B-roll videos that everyone else is using. My second trend prediction for 2025 is that AI content will start to be heavily used by content creators, and it will be indistinguishable from content that is not AI generated. We have seen that this is already starting to take place. Here at the end of 2024, NVIDIA AI, which this is not a paid sponsorship or promotion for them, but NVIDIA AI just rolled out their new V3, their version 3. And in version 3, you can put in a simple text prompt and it can create an entire reel or YouTube short or even YouTube video for you with original voiceover, complete storytelling, and their new V3 even has generative video in it. I'm not sure if you've seen the AI clips of Will Smith, but there was this hilarious AI video that came out maybe a year and a half ago now of Will Smith eating spaghetti, and it's like super weird. It was, he's like, the fork is turning into the spaghetti and it's like mixing with his mouth. It's like very dystopian and doesn't look real. But then in 2024, this video comes out that it doesn't look like AI at all. And that was just one small example. And obviously the computing power and the tools needed to create that was probably a little heftier in mid 2024. Like the average content creator couldn't have created that indistinguishable of a video in mid 2024. But I believe that by mid 2025, it's going to be indistinguishable. Already, I can create voiceover reels with a clone of my own voice, with AI video and B-roll content that looks just like I made it, that looks just like my editor made it, that sounds just like my voice. It's pretty flippin' crazy, and it's starting to take root here at the end of 2024. So I believe in 2025, it's going to be really, really, really tough to distinguish between what is AI generated and what is not. And of course, that's why authenticity matters. That's why being yourself, that's why putting your own face on camera, telling your own stories, using your own voice. I believe that if you're building a personal brand, those things really, really matter. And they're going to matter now more than ever before because of the rise of AI content. All right, my third prediction for Instagram in 2025, and I got to give credit where credit is due. My wife helped me come up with this one. This was her idea. Financial transparency. There seems to be a growing trend here at the end of 2024 where people are being very candid and very honest about their finances, about their budgeting, about their spending, about what their revenue is, about what their numbers look like. And I think that it's a really positive trend. I think unfortunately in 2024, we saw a lot of people making false income claims, a lot of people taking screenshots literally off of Google of fake bank accounts or fake stats showing how much money they've made this month. And they're posting it on their stories, they're posting it on their reels, and they're claiming, I made this much money in this much time. I made $50,000 in a week. I made $100,000 this month. I made $17 million this year, and just these fake income claims. And so I think there's going to be a movement, and we've already started to see it take place a little bit on TikTok and a little bit on Instagram, where content creators, especially business coaches or people in the financial industry, are being very transparent and very honest about their finances and about their income and about all of these numbers. Also, of course, the FTC has passed laws and regulations trying to crack down on this. It's impossible that the FTC is going to catch every single Instagram post that has a false income claim, but just the fact that the FTC is threatening to crack down on it and that they have started to find influencers and large accounts who are basically trying to scam others with these false income claims shows that this trend is only going to continue to grow in 2025. And like I said, I think it's a great thing because we all need financial transparency, and being honest about revenue numbers and income amounts is very important for setting realistic expectations and for selling in an ethical way on social media. All right, trend number 4 is something that I've done an entire podcast video about already, and it is the rise of share-worthy content. Shares are going to be the secret sauce for growing on Instagram in 2025. if you want more views, if you want to grow, if you want to even go viral, you are going to have to get more shares. In fact, according to Instagram's CEO himself, he has now said this numerous times, the best form of engagement is a share. The number one metric that the algorithm is looking for is sends per reach. Said another way, how many people are sharing your post out of everyone who sees your post? The amount of shares is going to heavily impact the performance of your post on social media. And that's going to be true for all social medias, but especially for Instagram. If you want more info on how to create share-worthy content, in my opinion, there are 5 categories of share-worthy content. And like I said, I did an entire podcast episode about that. So if you want to find that on the YouTube channel or search it up in the podcast, it's called How to Boost Views on Reels in Less Than 10 Minutes. And basically that will walk you through creating share-worthy content. And luckily, share-worthy content is some of the easiest content to create on all social media. And because shares are the best way to grow, and because it's also being talked about, right? I'm talking about it right now. Instagram CEO has said it a few times. More people are going to be creating share-worthy content. We're going to see the rise of meme-fluencers, influencers who are popular just for the memes that they create. With that being said, though, I also think, and this is kind of like a 4A and 4B prediction. 4A is that shares will be the best kind of engagement, and we're going to see more share-worthy content. But because of that, prediction 4B is that it's going to be tougher to get a share. Basic supply and demand tells us that as more people are creating share-worthy posts, as the supply increases for the amount of shareable content on social media, the average number of shares that each of our posts is getting is going to go down. At the end of the day, people aren't going to be able to match that level of supply. They're not going to be able to share 14 posts a day from 14 different creators. The amount of times we're sharing per day might slightly increase, but I don't think it's going to increase at the same rate that the amount of share-worthy posts is increasing. So basically, there's going to be a lot more share-worthy content, but not a lot more shares to go around. So on average, I think people are going to be seeing less shares per post in 2025. Prediction number 5 for 2025 is actually similar to one that I mentioned in 2024, and it is that small accounts will dominate. Like I said earlier, we've already seen in 2024 that smaller accounts are getting more views. In fact, here's the specific statistic. Accounts with 500 followers or less are getting 34% more views per post in 2024 than they were in 2023. Compare that to accounts with more than 10,000 followers. They're only getting 2% more views in 2024 than 2023. What that means is the announcement that Instagram made earlier this year about we're helping small accounts and we're going to prioritize small accounts' growth and views is actually true. They're actually doing what they said. They are prioritizing and showing favoritism towards original creators and towards smaller content creators. I also think there's something to be said about the power of a hyper-focused niche community. When all of your posts are relevant to that small group, you can have a lot of success with that group. On my other podcast, Social Media Moneymakers, I recently interviewed a creator who made $30,000, and that's a real income claim, not a fake income claim, $30,000 in one launch, so basically like 1 week or 1 weekend, with less than 1,000 followers. And that's because the 900-something followers that she had were super engaged. They were part of a small, hyper-focused niche community, and so she was able to really pour into each of them, love on them, show them the respect and the level of engagement that they deserve. And because of that, she was able to build some trust, and she was able to show authenticity and convert them from followers into customers. So again, something that I think is going to happen in 2025 is these smaller accounts. Let's broadly say accounts with less than 10,000 or even less than 50,000, but specifically less than 10,000 followers on Instagram are going to have a lot of success, not just with views, not just with growth, but specifically with growing a business, with sales, and with customer generation in 2025. And that is great news because prediction number 6 that I have for 2025 is that there's going to be a boom in online entrepreneurship, in coaches, and in freelancers. And I believe this is going to be fueled by a few things that we've already mentioned, like prediction number 5, but I also think that this is going to be fueled by and this doesn't sound fun to say, and I know some people are going to get mad at me for this, but the dying off of the network marketer or the multi-level marketer industry. Now, my mom did an episode of this podcast a few weeks ago called Beachbody, in parentheses, Body, which is their rebranded name, calls it quit. Are MLMs over? Where she goes more in depth into her background, her insights, and her predictions for the multi-level marketing, network marketing industry. But let me just read you some statistics and you can be the judge of yourself. First of all, according to numerous studies, 98 to 99% of people in multi-level marketing don't make any money. And unfortunately, that reality, that fact, that statistic is becoming a lot more widely known, and it's scaring a lot of people away from joining network marketing. Additionally, many major network marketing and multi-level marketing companies have called it quits. They have changed their program, they've changed their revenue structure, or they have been reporting lower earnings in 2024. And I think this signals the broader shift away from network marketing and multi-level marketing towards things like owning your own business, affiliate marketing, brand partnerships, doing it for yourself, sponsorships, building your own online business. And I think the simplicity and the ease of doing it for yourself is increasing. Thanks to tools like StanStore and ManyChat, it's becoming easier and easier to grow a business online, to sell things, to promote things, and to earn an income from social media. And so I think the reliance upon network marketing / multi-level marketing is going down. Now, I also don't want to paint with a broad brush and say that all multi-level marketing is going to die and all the businesses are going to go away and they're going to shut down and they're all bad. None of that is true. I think that there are people who do it right and people who do it wrong. I think there are some companies that are very ethical and moral and that are doing it right, and there are some that are doing it a little bit wrong. I think that ultimately it's up to each individual person to figure out what's best for them. And one of the reasons that I have always been a fan of network marketing is that it can be a great way for people to learn the basics, the foundations, the principles of growing a business online, building a brand, building a social media presence, selling. All of those things can be learned and oftentimes can be learned easier or more efficiently when you are a part of a network marketing company. However, because of that, because that's been the truth for the last 15 to 50 years, a lot of people now have that foundation. They know how to sell things. They've built a personal brand. They understand social media marketing, and now they want to do it for themselves. You couple that with the fact that a lot of these companies are changing business practices or they're going out of business altogether, and I think that there's going to be a boom in people doing it for themselves, a boom in freelancers, a boom in online entrepreneurship, a boom in online coaching in 2025. I don't mean to be bleak, but let me just read you this excerpt from a Medium article. They say that Monet, a major hair care company, has all but collapsed. The company has started to fire people in its top ranks amidst major lawsuits. While the company has not declared bankruptcy, people are fleeing left and right. They also go on to say that Rodan & Fields, a major skincare company, has ended its famous multi-level marketing side, and they have switched to a commission-only pay system, which is also what Beachbody has done. Seint, I'm not sure how to say it, a makeup company, has gone belly up. They are redoing their commissions so that the MLM aspect of it will no longer be in service. Amway, often considered to be the king of MLMs, has posted less profit in 2024. The 5% drop made earnings below the $8 billion mark for the first time in a decade. So again, while I don't think 100% of network marketing or multi-level marketing companies are going to go away, I do think we're going to see a massive shift away from them in 2025. My seventh prediction for Instagram in 2025 is a resurgence of carousels. Over the last few years, we have become so reel happy. Reels. That's all anyone wants to post. And carousels have become something that are highly edited. You need Photoshop to create these like super crazy graphics that like seamlessly transitions from one slide to the next. But here towards the end of 2024, two things have happened that make me think that carousels are going to make a big comeback in 2025. The first one is a content trend happening at the end of 2024 where people are creating very authentic, in the moment, almost photo dump style carousels. Now, photo dump carousels are where you just take a bunch of photos and you basically, dump them out onto your Instagram in a carousel. They're very popular with Gen Z and they've been very popular for a year or two. But here at the end of 2024, the more widespread trend, which is taking place across all generations, is carousels where people are taking a photo of themselves, oftentimes a very candid photo, not like a professional photo shoot photo, but just a very candid photo of themselves, maybe having a sip of coffee or working on the computer, and they're adding some really real, honest, authentic text on top of it. I've recently done a few versions of this myself, and I've seen many other creators doing their own version of this trend as well. And what this shows me is that people are appreciating authentic, in the moment, raw, imperfect carousels in the same way that they have grown to appreciate raw, in the moment, imperfect reels. And so I think that in 2025, we're going to see more of this. We're going to see more people creating carousels that aren't highly polished, highly edited with great graphic design, and instead are just kind of a collection of photos from your recent life or from whatever it is that you're talking about, from the story that you're telling. And then they're going to add some simple text, maybe even native Instagram text on top of the carousel, and then post it. It's a great way to tell stories. It's been very popular on TikTok for at least the last year, and I think it's going to come to Instagram as well. The other change that has recently taken place that tells me that carousels are going to make a comeback in 2025 is that Instagram has doubled the number of slides that you can put in a carousel. So since carousels were born on Instagram, you could only put 10 slides, but now Instagram is allowing up to 20. And while I'm not saying that you need to put 20 slides in all of your carousels, I gotta say, as someone who posts a few carousels a week, sometimes it's nice to be able to put 12 photos or 14. Sometimes you just need those extra slides to add your call to action or to space out your carousel so that there's not so much text on every single photo. And so I really appreciate it. And I know that this expansion to 20 slides or allowing us to put up to 20 slides in our carousels has allowed me to get more creative and to post more carousels in general. So I think that's going to continue in 2025. I think more people are going to post more carousels. It's just so easy to create a carousel. We've really overcomplicated things with this, trend towards graphic design and professional, fancy editing carousels. So I think we're going to embrace the raw, imperfect carousels, and I think that's going to allow more people to post more carousels in 2025. All right, my eighth and final Instagram prediction for 2025 is that live selling is going to become a big deal on Instagram in 2025, and here's why. It's already a big deal on TikTok. In fact, in February of 2024, which is the most recent numbers that I could find, 2/3 of all GMV, which stands for gross merchandise value, so like the total value of all the things sold, 2/3 of the total value of all things sold on social media was sold through TikTok Shop. And the TikTok Shop is heavily sold through TikTok Live. TikTok has really figured it out in that sense. If you go live on TikTok and you are a part of the TikTok Shop, you can promote TikTok products very much like we used to see back in the day on QVC. QVC, for those of you who don't know, is a popular broadcast channel that, yes, Shalene has been on a few times herself, where they sell things live basically 24/7. All hours of the day, you turn on QVC and you're basically getting infomercials selling you different products. And it's very, very effective. There's something in it when you are selling live that just makes people more willing to purchase. That's why webinars are so popular. That's why masterclasses are so popular. Entrepreneurs aren't doing free masterclasses just because they want to give back. They're doing it so they can get your email and so they can sell you something at the end of the free masterclass. A lot of people know that by now. I know that's not news. But what I think is going to happen on Instagram in 2025 is that people are going to realize you can sell during your Instagram live videos. One of the best ways to do this, and this is not a promotion in any way, is to use ManyChat. ManyChat, which a lot of y'all are familiar with for DM automation, is the tool where someone can comment a certain word on your post, and then they automatically receive the link in the DMs. I know we've done numerous podcasts about that in the past, so just go ahead and search that up in your podcast app and you can find it. But one super underutilized tool that ManyChat offers, and that they have offered for years, is live DM automation. So if someone's watching you live and they comment the keyword hot dog, and you've set it up so that when someone says the word hot dog, they automatically get a link to 10% off your hot dogs, well then you can sell so much more effectively. Because on Instagram Live without ManyChat, you have to tell people, go to some link, like leave the live and go click on some link or go type in some link. It's very hard. What happens if they get lost? Now they have to come back to your live, and I hope you're live at the time. Instead, it's so much easier to use ManyChat. I've done this numerous times where I just tell people, hey, I'm going live on Instagram for an hour. I'm going to answer your questions about how to grow on Instagram. And then during that live, I tell people, hey, if you want your profile reviewed, just comment the word review on this live and I'll automatically send you the link to purchase a profile review. Then when they comment review, they get that link sent to their DM inbox automatically. When the live ends, it's ready and waiting for them. Or some people, yes, do leave the live and go click on that link, but it's just such a more intuitive and easy way to sell on Instagram Live. I don't have any information on this, but I would not be surprised if Instagram even improves their live selling in 2025 to make it more like TikTok, where you can shop and purchase things without even leaving the live. I would not be surprised if that takes place, but even if it doesn't, using ManyChat to sell on live is going to be a game changer on Instagram in 2025. And I think more people are going to start to figure that out and they're going to start to use it. In general, y'all know me, I'm an optimist. I think 2025 is going to be a great year on Instagram. One prediction that isn't really in my 2025 predictions, but it's going to be the case, it's definitely going to happen, is that views are going to get better in 2025. A lot of people saw huge drops in views in 2024, especially towards the end of 2024, and a lot of that had to do with the US presidential election. Both sides and numerous corporations were spending millions upon millions of dollars in advertising, and that was affecting the feed. So even if you weren't seeing political ads every day, it was affecting people's feeds. It was affecting the way Instagram and Facebook operated, and that changed immediately the day after the election. The cost per view on ads significantly dropped, which tells us, of course, they stopped spending millions upon millions of dollars on advertising, which also means the algorithms are going to return to normal. The views should increase. And I just think 2025 is going to be a great year on Instagram. So many more people creating content. The barrier to entry keeps getting lower. It keeps getting easier and simpler to grow a business and grow a brand and make money and provide for yourself on Instagram. So I really think that 2025 is going to be a great year on Instagram. I think that creators and business owners alike are going to experience success like they haven't seen in a while on Instagram in 2025. Of course, the people who stay up to date with the latest trends and strategies are the ones who are going to have the most success. The ones who are able to stay consistent and are able to persevere through the uncomfortability. They're going to embrace the suck. They're the ones who can keep going despite the challenges. Those are the ones who are going to have the most success. So thank you so much for being here. I want to say thank you so much for subscribing and listening to this podcast throughout 2024. I appreciate you. Like I said at the beginning, if you have a question, if you have a disagreement, if you have your own opinions that you want to share on these trend predictions, let me know down in the comments below. But thank you for being here, and I'll see you next week.